to What We Learned This Week, where it might not matter.
But we're going to talk about it anyway.
I'm Shalene.
And I'm Liz.
Liz, we're at episode 13.
Lucky 13.
I do kind of feel like it's lucky.
I think so. We're going to go with lucky rather than removing it from the number series out of fear, right?
I know every time Friday the 13th comes up, I think, and then it ends up being a really good day.
Yeah, it's never been a big deal. But I always wonder for a second, is it going to be?
Yeah.
No black cats cross my path. It's fine.
Well, and it's nice to have something to blame something on, right? Like, oh, it's just Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's true. Except that I do that over every little thing I can find. Oh, it's just a Monday. Oh, it's hump day. Oh, yeah, I do it all. Yeah.
Okay.
The weather.
At least you're not blaming yourself. That's probably a little bit healthy, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Blame everybody else.
You're not blaming people. A Monday is not a person.
Monday is not a person unless their name is Monday.
Do you know anyone named Monday?
Nope. Well, the Addams Family Monday.
No, it's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday.
Oops. She's not Monday? She is Wednesday. Dang it.
I wonder what the significance of that is.
Wednesday's hump day? Wednesday's crazy. I don't know. We should look it up.
I think, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe that should be one of our would you rather, we should probably make that one of our questions at the end. Which Addams Family character are you? We'll do that in October. We can delete that part there.
That's funny, Wednesday. My cousin lives in Omaha, and he swears up and down that this happened, but he was at the grocery store or something, and this lady was like, "Hey, Spatula, get over here." He swears someone's named Spatula. Mm-hmm.
No.
And then I heard of someone that wanted to name their child after a medical term.
Oh, no.
So they named them meconium.
Oh, dear. You got to Google those medical terms before you give names. Just saying.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, when you get older and you realize your name means poop.
Baby poop. Yeah. Baby birth poop. That's a first.
All right. Liz has something exciting she wants to share with you. We have something brewing in the works.
We do. We do indeed. I have a great friend out here. She's a yogi friend. We've been wanting to run a yoga retreat for a little while. Her family has a cabin out at Bear Lake, which is kind of I've heard it rumored as the Utah Caribbean for us landlocked folks out here.
And why is that?
Water's blue.
Oh, okay.
It's a lake. It's something we can drive to. I don't know. It's a thing, apparently.
Okay. The water is very blue.
It is very blue.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. It's not the warmest lake.
No.
But again, landlocked folks, we got to find what we can find, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And it is a lovely, it's nature. It's beautiful. There's mountains, trees. You get all of it, actually. So there's some epic parts of it.
And raspberry shakes.
We're partnering with my yogi friend in her cabin and us here at What We Learned This Week to put together a What We Learned This Weekend.
So fancy.
Very fancy. Did everybody get tingles? I got tingles. Mini retreat. Retreat's the best word we've gone with so far. And it's mini because it'll be comfy. You know, we'll have bunk beds and shared rooms and delicious meals and a couple of really fun activities. Well, we're going to be providing a little more of the self-care activities, actually.
All right.
And Shalene is going to be our amazing hostess for cooking and helping with the meals and all the good stuff.
Lots of ideas.
We are so thrilled to put this together because it's a great opportunity for us in the community to get together, to share what we learn in a larger setting.
Right.
And to support each other through this learning process, because sometimes, at least for me, learning is hard. I love learning, but when it's the stuff that I'm resistant to or I struggle with,
especially when it deals with yourself. It's not a textbook or focused on some person in history. It's focusing inward on yourself, and it can be a little uncomfortable.
So we felt very strongly that a bit of a self-care supportive weekend for that would be just a great way to start the fall. We're looking to do it in September. So get it on those calendars. If you're interested, we'll have more details to follow for sure. We're looking at the weekend of the 13th, 14th, and 15th of September. And here's another thing. I don't know if when you hear the word retreat, you panic a little. This is something that, in fact, maybe we should have had Julie on the show to announce it, because she really comes from a place that this is a passion of hers to share and provide and I don't want to say for not all of us that this may be accessible to, but that's essentially some of the goal that we're coming from as well. She wants to keep it very affordable and
yes,
something that, we can just partake of on a level that doesn't break the bank, right?
That allows you to be able to take care of yourself while not feeling that you have to sacrifice your family's well-being.
Or yours, right? We got to have both.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure we can probably say this. It's probably going to be around $100.
Yep.
For 2 nights and all your meals.
And this is the self-care stuff that's included is going to be, we're trying to do like a meditative hike, some yoga classes and offerings, some intention setting, journaling. I mean, lots of opportunities to grow, share, set intentions, set some goals if that's useful, or let them go.
Yeah. And this really is more of a gift to you as our listeners to be able to come and partake and to take it to the next level.
For sure. So we are excited.
Yeah, we are.
It's in the works, folks. Keep watching for more information and how to sign up. We'd love, love, love for you to be there.
Yes, we would. Tell all your friends. Well, not too many because space is limited.
It is. We're looking at a max of about 15.
Okay.
Should we say that so quick? Yikes. Bring all your friends. We'll figure it out. We'll sleep on the deck.
Sure.
Under the stars.
Okay, Liz, it's your week. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I fought this topic a lot.
Really?
I did. It's a vulnerable topic, first off.
Okay.
And we've already talked about my issues, apparently, with being a little intense. So then I always worry that I'm like, where's the lighthearted things I learned? I swear I learned fun things too.
Yes.
I have positive experiences. I do. In fact, Shalene and I were just talking about that a second before recording today, that, the fun things, the great, wonderful, quick joy lessons, I guess, even, if we string in one of our last podcasts there about joy, they're just a little smaller. It's not something I could probably talk for 40 minutes about.
True.
I don't know. You? Yeah?
I don't know. Maybe
I just need to shift my thoughts there.
No. I mean, I guess I'm trying to think like if I had cooking tips, it would just be a lot of smaller tips to fill up the time rather than a full discussion.
And some of the topics that I have are even heavier. Yikes. I had one friend call about how to tackle some stuff with her son and material he found online. Those are huge topics. So I feel like we're kind of staying in the middle. Let's stay in the middle for a little while.
Okay, I'm good.
So my week last week was actually kind of rough. I had a lot that showed up. And I guess what I really wanted to get, if we're getting down to brass tacks, if we're getting down to the meat of the issue, is that it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Right.
I need permission for that. I don't know. Do you ever feel that way? Like, I just need to be able to mourn or upset, or there's so much conflicting information for me out there, because if we want a positive mentality and we're working towards our goals, and here we, unleashed this miracle morning experience, and it's still hard.
That is so interesting. So for some reason, something about sitting in the poop is coming to mind.
Oh gosh, right?
What was that?
I don't know, but it's a euphemism, right? Like if you're in the mud, be in the mud, or if you're stuck in the mud, or there's so much advice. And I think this is what prompted it. There's so much advice for how to get out of the mud, or how to get unstuck, or how to get out of your own poop, or get out of your own way, or whatever. But we forget, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody. I forget, or I lose track of, or I don't know how the person got from there to there, right? Okay. If I don't honor sometimes that I'm in the poop, I go right back to the poop after the 5 steps to get out of it. I just do. I do. I'm a poop cycler, apparently. We're going to make this up.
We're friends.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that it would be uncomfortable, or is it like a step beyond uncomfortable, like suffering is where you were?
Ooh, probably a little bit of both.
Right.
I think what prompted I need to be here before talking about all the steps to get out of it was actually listening to a podcast, because I couldn't figure out why I was so down in the dumps for so many days last week. And I will say that there is an actual amount. For me, there was something very specific that was the catalyst for all of that.
All right.
So I apparently injured my knee, my right knee at some point, which you've known a little about my knee issue. And it just progressively got worse. Once spring hit and I went over to St. George with some family for spring break, I tried to treat it as normal as possible. It had started aching a little bit. But anyways, by the time I got back from spring break, it had seized. It froze up a couple of times. I couldn't bear weight on it. I found out I had a cyst behind my knee because that meant there was a lot of inflammation. So something was damaged. It was making it really difficult to do my normal activities. If you've heard me talk about this before, I already have an autoimmune condition.
Right.
So here we go on the, you know what I mean? It was just all the things. I had my list of, my body's crapping out on me. And my rheumatologist, love him to death because he's great at helping keep me quote unquote healthy. But he loves to remind me every time I go in for my 6-month checkup, well, you're not getting any younger. I'm also not getting that much older. I'm not even 40. Okay. Give me a break.
True.
I'm going to have to tell him that one of these next times. That or I'll just throw a pair of scissors across the room. I don't really know. That's how it made me feel a little bit.
Did it really?
It did. I don't know why it's a hot button, but it is.
Okay. Aging or just
I think
being not perfect?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Probably that's the underlying thing, right? If you've heard of Louise Hay, any of you listeners out there, or
I love Louise.
Or the author Carol Truman of the book Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. There's a lot of notion that we hold on to some of those difficult energies and they manifest in very physical ways in our bodies.
Okay.
There's a whole other school of thought on all of that. And that's a rabbit hole I'm not willing to go down today.
Right.
But suffice it to say, because of a lot of that background for me, there's a lot of emotional energy there anyways over, is this something that I did to myself? Should I have taken better care of my body?
Or your emotions.
Right. Or is my body not handling things very well? Or am I overdoing it? So then I just hamster wheel, right?
So you're just blaming yourself for your pain.
For sure. That's definitely part of it.
Interesting.
It's a difficult cycle. It typically shows up when I'm already emotionally struggling with a couple of things. So you add in a couple other, just life, or I feel like a lot of things in my life are on hold right now. I'm getting ready for school, but my financing hasn't worked out. We're in the middle of considering a remodel on that. I mean, it's just like I could seriously name at least 10 things for you that are all in the back burner / sort of moving forward and in the works. And I'd already seen my rheumatologist a while back, and I got referred to get an MRI, and then I had to go to the knee surgeon. And the long and short of the whole thing was I finally got my knee surgery scheduled next week.
Wow. Yeah.
And so basically it was 2 weeks out from when all of this finally came together. So last week was when last week was when I scheduled the surgery. And then I had to really realize what that's going to take a toll on for my life. It's a small surgery. It's a scope. It's probably not even that big a deal. They said no weight bearing for like 3 or 4 days and then weight bearing afterwards. And I was like, awesome. This is manageable, right?
Okay.
It's not 6 weeks of not moving.
Yeah.
And being a yoga teacher, PS, kind of hard, right? But then I had to ask for subs one morning.
All right.
And that's when I lost it.
Because people weren't willing to help, or you had
No, everyone was willing to help. I found all the subs I needed within 24 hours.
That's awesome.
And I have like 6 classes, which isn't that much, thank goodness, but that's a lot of people to ask for help for 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't even a day. Like it was, I had to get help for the surgery, the recovery. It happens to back up to a family vacation. Like it was a lot to ask for. It was really hard.
Well, Liz, I worked at a place one time and a woman was separated. And I remember her telling me that being married is a certain amount of stress and being divorced is a certain amount of stress, but being separated and not knowing where things are going to go is way more stress than either of the other two.
Oh, wow.
On the end. And so I think that's where you're at right now, is that you've got these things stewing, right? But you have no finality either way. You don't have a yes and you don't have a no. The surgery, I think, is going to happen. So that's a yes.
That finally came through as a yes. And that was maybe where I had the mini breakdown, because I finally had to realize, it's actually happening. So if I'm going to do this, I better find some people that can take care of everything for me to step out of.
But also, you've never done it before.
I have not.
So the recovery is...
I don't know what this means.
Right.
Yeah. What does it look like?
So you are in a lot of places of uncertainty, and you're looking probably for places of certainty that you can rely on.
Yes.
But for some reason, there aren't very many of them that you recognize right now.
Oh, that's such a clear way of stating it, for sure. And because I do interpret the world around me emotionally, I have to internalize it chew on it, think about it, experience it 500 times over, and then I can produce like a result. It's insane. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure there's something that exists out there where you put everything in and then it gives you something in return. Like I'm the change machine. Give me everything and I'll give you some dollars. But that's what I feel like sometimes. I have to experience the world that way. So here was the next realization with that though, right? So great. It's okay to be in the mud. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be in this sucks right now. And I don't always know what to do when I'm in the suck phase anyways, because then I spin out over all kinds of really ridiculous things. Like I'm actually really exhausted today. I don't want to do anything. So then my kids and I sit and watch a bunch of episodes of Nailed It on Netflix instead of anything constructive. And then I had to realize, I guess that's just part of being in the muck sometimes. I don't know. I spin out over, am I watching too much TV? Am I not helping? Everything's moral. It can't just be, I want to watch a TV show right now. How do I feel? And that's what I had to get back to. I know, it's a mess. That's why I'm seeing a therapist. It just exists. I don't know if it's something I mean to put on myself, but by virtue of being who I am with my gifts, I think we've talked about this a little. There are some, and I don't mean that from an arrogant standpoint, just that I have an ability to really maybe understand emotion because I see the world from that lens a lot, but it also means I can spin out there a lot too. Right? You and I joke about this a little bit. You're like, oh, I'm very linear. That's a gift. But if you're thinking linear at every moment at all times, then you might not always be able to see a whole picture.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to have some balance there. I don't like saying the negative side of it because that implies that there's something bad about that you see linear or I see. So how could we phrase that differently? It's
I think they all have their strengths and they have their limitations.
Limitations is a better word. I like that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily negative because you need the yin and the yang or however you say it. You say
yin and yang.
Yeah, she says it the right way. I say it the American version. But
like yoga. You want to do some yoga?
Or gyros.
Oh gosh. Gyros.
Gyros. That's what we called them growing up.
Can we have a gyro, please? Those are gyros, by the way, in case you were wondering. Gyro. They're very delicious. You should try one.
It's one of my favorite foods, yes.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah. There's this chicken Cajun one that they have at this restaurant over in, I think it's North Ogden.
Really good.
Yeah, we should probably have it one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Greek food.
Big fan of all the food. Especially when you make it. What?
Oh, I made something really good last night. I'll have to share it with you.
Oh, tell us.
I found this new app.
For food?
It's
interesting.
I thought it was called Mealtime. Apparently it's called Meal Lime. I don't know if they forgot to put the T in there.
Oh, dang.
I'm so confused, but I was looking at all of their app development. It was all spelled Meal Lime. So Mealime.
Mealime. So they just skipped the T.
Yeah, but I can't figure out why they would do that.
Maybe somebody else had mealtime and so they had to get rid of the T.
I guess so. But anyway, I signed up for free. Usually stuff like that you have to pay for. But they have a bunch of recipes on there. And then you put the recipe that you want. You put how many people you want to feed.
Oh, cool.
So it says just 2 or 4 with maybe a little leftovers or 6 to 8.
I love that.
And then it gets your grocery list. And you look in your pantry and mark off everything that you have.
So is this just for one meal or can you do multiple meals at a time? Oh, serious?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
And then you mark off what you have and then you go to the grocery store and buy what's left. And then they have very detailed directions. So when it says, like a lot of times they'll have the ingredients and they'll say 6 cloves of garlic, minced. Well, when it gives you the instruction of mince the garlic and put it in a pot, it'll say parentheses 4 cloves.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to keep going back and forth through the ingredient list.
Oh, gosh. That is, I can't tell you how annoying that is, actually.
Right?
How many times I've read the instructions and then I have have to scroll up to see what it was again. Wait, how many teaspoons? How many what?
Right. I made this one called Greek chicken and salad. And it was just this marinated. I made it in half an hour. It was done, start to finish. And it had tzatziki sauce. It had the dressing. It had grilled chicken.
Oh, I want that one.
And even Steve ate it. So
okay, I'm going to check it out.
You did eat coffee ice cream yesterday.
I did, and it was so good.
I would do that without the caramel, though.
You know what? I don't even like caramel. And it was bottom line, it was one of the best I've ever had. I will buy this for life. And in fact, I might go home and have it for lunch now, too.
Who makes it?
Umpqua from Winco.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's so good.
All right.
Really good.
Really?
Have we talked about this?
No.
There's very little caramel you can get me to like in this life.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much the same.
It's not great. I'd eat chocolate first.
Have you had the Haagen-Dazs coffee bars covered in dark chocolate?
No, but I should.
I had one in high school and I remember thinking,
This is what
this is
life
wrong,
should be.
because it's so good.
Because it's so good.
Yeah.
Coffee and chocolate and caramel are the best things to ever go together. Oh, man.
You're supposed to add a little bit of coffee to all your chocolate cakes.
Oh, yeah, because it brings it out a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. Thank you, Ina Garten, for teaching me that.
Thank you, Ina Garten.
Yeah. All right, we have gone off trail. I don't even know where we're at now.
So even beyond, for me, cycling into the health, what I've done to myself, kind of whatever nonsense is going on
Are you
there.
giving yourself blame for your problem?
I don't think so. I didn't feel like that was necessarily the undercurrent of everything. Just that it was a bigger trial than I thought it was going to be that I had to deal with, right? I don't even know how I did it. I can't look back at, I was doing this one thing and I torqued my knee and you know what I mean? So then on top of that, I just had there was a little bit of guilt over how did this even happen? Like I'm not a CrossFit marathon junkie here, right? Like I'm not doing so much stuff that should cause, I'm still exploring my physical limitations, right?
So that's so interesting. What I hear from you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're looking for a place to place the blame.
Totally. Which finishes spinning it out too, for me. 100%.
So couldn't you just say, this is a life experience and there's no one to blame?
So that's kind of what I had to come down to, though. So for me, it was being in my muck, being in my mud, being in this difficulty, being in whatever it was, that things are not okay right now, meant that I was allowed to take a step back and just feel what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple, but I've been there several times, and it's easier for me to recognize on other things, right? Like I can tell if I'm worrying too much about this or not being forgiving about that or, whatever it is. I can typically kind of spot my cycles and pull back or okay, what am I really feeling here so that I can make sense of it and move forward. But this was it was just new. It was different. It really threw me.
Wow.
I had to teach a class towards the end of the week and tell all my students that I wasn't going to be there for the next 3 weeks. That was hard.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was really hard. There is this place in me that I just, when I'm teaching, I guess I have a little bit of a tender, like they're my students. They're my people that I take care of, that I don't just go to class to give them some yoga. I'm there tending and maybe that's too much emotional investment. That's on me if that's the case.
Yeah.
But I'm not just a teacher that's like, okay, I'm trying to get you to use your quadriceps today. Well, it's a lot more going on there.
You're kind of a shepherd, I would say, and
I'm tending something. I'm tending these little sprouts as they're working. I mean, to me, if you've showed up to a yoga class, 90, hopefully % of the time, you're there for more than just stretching. You must be if you're there at least for the first time and if you're coming back, right?
Yeah.
Like yoga already has a stigma of being either incredibly physical in all the asana that we practice or very spiritual, whatever, right? People already identify that with that here. So you're showing up for something. And not that I am responsible for providing that for you, because each person is in their own place and that's on them for what they gain out of it.
Yeah.
But I am responsible for holding a place for them to experience that and providing them an opportunity to partake.
That is really beautiful. So I watched the movie Breakthrough last night. And for some reason, Topher Grace was the preacher.
Cool. Cool.
He had a lot of skinny jeans. It was very
so hot preacher. Oh, wait.
Yeah, he was pretty cute. But he was trying to teach his kids what he was doing. He was going to help one of his flock or one of the people that went to his church. Mm-hmm. His kids were asking him questions like, so why do you have to do that? You're not their parent or their sibling.
Yeah.
And he was saying, well, it's kind of like being a shepherd. And he said, when a sheep is injured, the shepherd will actually put it around its neck and carry it around. And they're like, well, why does he do that? And he said, well, so they can feel my heartbeat and they can know that I'm there for them and they can heal.
Wow, I've never heard that. I mean, I've heard the shepherd analogy several times from a religious context, but I've never heard that.
And he's like, and so it's a comfortable place. And so I think when you are one of the best forms of a teacher as a shepherd, that love that you have for those people can really translate and creates this bond where I don't know.
Yes. That is something I have not been able to describe is these students, they're my people. And I actually don't know a ton about their personal lives. I really don't. Some of them I know skimming things, right? One student, she started attending my classes when I had found out her husband had passed within the last 6 months. Wow. You know what I mean? I do teach a cancer recovery class or for students and survivors. So that automatically there's a massive amount of care and responsibility for someone. in that state, whether they're coming for themselves or to support their family or I have students that have 10 years in remission, but they still come for that particular gentle care.
Yeah, so you feel like you're giving up. Yeah, you're giving up the stewardship for a little while, and you're worried about them. And I think you're probably also worried about that there's probably an amount, and I'm not saying this is selfish, but that feeds your soul too. Like you recognize 100%. The energy that comes back, and you're like, I'm going to be missing this.
I will be missing it, and obviously there's a literal financial dent for 3 weeks of not teaching. That's a big deal for right now. For just what I do. I mean, just all of it, right? And then I had to ask all these people to step in for that to happen.
Asking's hard.
I feel like I've had other places I've had no problem asking, can you give my kid a ride here? Would you mind grabbing him on the way home? just whatever. Maybe I'm thinking more too within my own immediate family dynamic. I can call my mom and be like, she knows the surgery's coming up and she's planning on being there every day and all the little things there. But it hadn't hit me, I guess, until that moment when I had to really ask. So I was stewing about a lot of things. And
I'm sorry.
Thank you. That was, but I am grateful for people like that, for the people that will support in the stew, in the muck. And I had one student though, so I went to class and I was just sharing what I needed to do and I think I even apologized to her. I'm so sorry that you're going to, things will be a little different for the next couple weeks. And one of them stopped me afterwards and she's like, you just need to let yourself feel what you're feeling. She's so wise. I love this woman. Oh. Seriously, she is one of the coolest women I've ever met. She's had like 2 hip replacements and she just gets out immunity and does everything, right? Wow. She's just an awesome, awesome woman. But she's wise. I mean, you'll be fine. You will find if you just let yourself feel whatever it is that's going on right now, it probably won't even last that long. And I was like, what? Maybe I haven't done that. So I went home.
Okay.
Did my own little, kind of thought meditation on it and I'm actually kind of bummed too. I don't want to go in for knee surgery, actually. That's the other part of it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to spend the time on it. I don't want to lay in bed for 3 weeks, 2 weeks of the summer. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to recover. I don't want to lose the momentum I've gained for working out. I don't want any of that. I don't want to. I'm bummed. I'm bummed that this happened and I don't want to do it. And I felt really good.
Wow.
Well, afterwards.
I like that. But I also like how all of what you're talking about is all of your thoughts. It has nothing to do with the experience. The surgery,
oh my gosh,
is a circumstance, right?
And it hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, but you get to choose whatever you want to think about it. For me, I'll tell you exactly what I would think. I can watch TV guilt-free for 2 weeks. I can sit in bed and have people come visit me. I don't even have to do anything. I can go hang out at the physical therapy place and work out, and I'm supposed to.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute.
Really, those are my thoughts because I had knee surgery and I remember thinking that, oh my gosh, I can watch TV and I don't even feel guilty because I can't do anything else.
Shalene, this is really bad. Is this confession time? Are you guys ready for this? This is not bad. This is just a part of my existence. Okay. I feel guilty over not feeling guilty.
Wow.
Because there were a couple moments where I was like, all right, I get to watch that show I've been putting off. And
then you said, it's wrong to feel that way.
Oh, totally.
Stop it.
That was the rest of the cycle. I get burned out also teaching. I lose ideas. I get unmotivated. I have to study a little extra hard because P.S., when you teach somebody for over 2 years, they know if you're using the same dang thing you've been using. Oh, yeah. Do you know? And I'm not reinventing the wheel every time, but I do a lot of the same poses or maneuvers or processes. And if I'm going to challenge them, then I also have to be prepared to actually challenge them, which means I have to offer something. I get a little tired. There's definitely been a few moments here and there where I'm like, well, this is a great time to take a break. I'm tired again. Anyways, and then I felt bad for feeling tired and being kind of glad too.
That's so interesting. So you finally get yourself to a place where you feel okay about it.
It's all in my head, girl.
But you got to put yourself back down because that's where you feel comfortable. You feel comfortable.
Maybe that's where it is. Or I do believe that there's an element of I just haven't fully developed a healthy relationship around, which is probably why I talk about a lot of these things, maybe joy, or we actually call them second chakra issues.
Okay. What's your second chakra?
Your second chakra is chakra, however you want to say it, guys. You can call it whatever you want. Your root chakra is the one just underneath your tailbone sacrum. It actually sits just below the very lowest part in your pelvis. And then the second one is actually considered your reproductive area.
Okay.
And I almost want to say each one has kind of a little mantra or motto. And that second one actually is that you are allowed to feel what you feel.
Oh.
Yeah. And that you're allowed to find joy and pleasure in life. In life in general, which interesting, we could go on a whole nother thing here. It is the reproductive organs. It can show up in, can I say sexual repression? It can show up there. It can show up in a lot of different ways. So the point is, which on a side note, I don't know if we want any of this in here. So we could just.
The chakras? No,
yeah.
I like it.
You like it?
But the one common theme that I see with you, and you've got to forgive me for diagnosing you.
Oh, here it comes. Shalene's got it. She's like, look, this is, I'm going to break it down for you. Are you ready? I'm holding on to something. Do I need to grin and bear it? Where's my bite stick? Help me out.
I think it's an issue of control.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just that you can't control the outcome. You can't control where it's going.
Oh, totally.
You can't
and where
control
does
your
fear
yoga
come
classes.
from? Where does fear come from? A lack of control.
So how can you... Have you thought about that? Have you thought about how you can let go?
Control's been an issue on lots of fronts my whole life anyways. I do believe that this is my own personal belief actually about control, is the issues that we have surrounding feelings and inability to enjoy life and all these other stuff come just from control, period.
A lack of control?
Both,
or too much control?
Either. They totally can be either. I thrive in environments where I get to orchestrate everything. I do great.
Okay.
Yeah. To some degree, being a stay-at-home mom and doing what I do on the side is, this is exactly what I possibly would have chosen anyways.
All right.
Because I would have to be in a position where I'm in charge of everything. If I worked outside the home like 24/7, or you know what I mean, 40 hours a week is what I mean. Because I like to run the show. I like it to look a certain way. I'm really big on aesthetic and flow and how it feels and all the other stuff. And that's what I do in my house. That's what I do with my life. I schedule everything down to, if you look at, my phone calendar, if I know it needs to be on a calendar, it's on there. I turned down a class, as a matter of fact, that I could have started teaching on Wednesday morning. So, because this is first, this is like, it's my thing. Anyways, always positives and limitations to our positive attributes, right?
Yeah. So your issue of control is just a strength of being organized.
For sure.
That's overused.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to scale it back a little bit. Not that it's all bad.
And it's not always fully in function. Like, you go into my house, it's not like I'm super organized all the time. There's clutter, there's things.
I haven't seen it.
Ever?
So, I don't think so.
Girl, you need to see it.
You can come to my house. Right in front of us, there's a bunch of Barbies on the bed. So.
I was actually really excited. She had to move a stack of clean underwear out of our little tiny pigeonhole of a...
Okay, it wasn't mine, okay?
recording space.
It was Shopkins size 6, so...
Good to know. Good to know that your little panties weren't taking up space over here.
If they were, I would need an intervention, promise.
I would intervene.
You would?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a good promise.
One thing I've found is when I'm really focused on something or really working on something or really hyper aware of it, I tend to notice it everywhere, which is probably why the podcast I had listened to prompted that. He kind of talked about, it's actually called the Robcast. Shout out, Rob. And that's exactly what he actually had another scheduled podcast that he was supposed to do. It was the continuation of another one, and he felt really strongly about talking about this particular subject. Okay. And it was very similar. It was, sometimes we're all lost. And I could give you 7 reasons till Sunday. It was 45 minutes of just reminding me that it's okay to be lost, that and he's a pastor, a former pastor. So he spent years not being lost, right? Like trying to have all the answers and support those who were lost. And you can't be lost if you're, the one guiding other people. I can't tell you how many times I've had that in my head. Where did that story come from? Oh, you're a yoga teacher leading people through some spiritual, physical journey. You better know your stuff. Nope.
Oh.
It just, sometimes I don't have all of that.
But also, I've recognized that maybe some area that you are strong in, other people can be low and you can lift them up, and vice versa.
Absolutely, which is why we're always the teacher and the student.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed that I have a tendency to really be, when I'm really attached to something or I want to teach it, teaching is one of the highest forms of learning for ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Right? Wasn't it J-Lo in one of her movies, those who can't do, teach, those who can't marry, plan, or something like that. It was her
Oh, yeah.
And I've, joked, I'm not saying that's what all teachers are. That's not what I'm saying. Just in this particular case, because I joke about how much I struggle with some of these things that I teach my yoga students. It's because it reinforces and helps me find a different way to learn it. In fact, one of the Yoga Sutras does talk about that. So the Yoga Sutras are just the Vedic text that embody the mind, body, spirit concepts that are taught in yoga, more or less. That's probably a simple way to say it. And one of them is that if we ever learn something really well, the way we express it back into the world is not the same way we learned it. So I think that's why, right? Like think about, any person who's really great at what they do, they learned something, right? And then they share it in a way that, so I learned whatever I did through experience or maybe a podcast or whatever, and then I share it in a yoga class maybe or whatever. That's why art is so important. That's why the work that we do is so important. It is. Yeah. Because it's unique not only to us and our experience, so obviously we have to, it's part of that teaching because it reinforces that learning for ourselves, but it also just gets it out there. And
then the learner in turn gets to interpret that the way they want to.
For sure.
Then they can...
And then that's why nothing's ever original. Yeah. It has all been done before, but so what? Right? In fact, one of the emails I had gotten, I get these emails from, I think I've talked about Daily Om before, have I? Yeah. I love their little emails. They just send, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, and I skim through it and it's not the topic of the day. But this one was stuck in the mud. So yeah, kind of funny that you're like stuck in your poo. Yeah. This one's stuck in the mud. But she talks about pain.
Who's she?
Her name's Madison Taylor. So she actually curates a lot of, I think she might even be the person that started all of what Daily Om was. But she's the one that sends the emails. So whatever the little learning blip for the day is, it's her that's writing it. Yeah, good question. Who's she? Who's this person that we're talking about? So she just talks about how pain is the translation for what we're stuck in. Like stuck in the mud, we're kind of stuck in our own pain, our feelings, whatever. Okay, yeah. And this was just kind of an interesting concept. She says that we get stuck in pain for many reasons. And one of them is, for example, when we're a child, it's very natural. It was natural for us to cry, throw a tantrum, whatever that was, because it helped us move through what that pain was, right? But then we're conditioned, we're taught for a lot of years to, coping strategies. And some of those coping strategies maybe were better than others. Obviously, stuffing it down, not dealing with it, not being allowed to, putting on the brave face, don't cry, whatever it was that was reinforced. There could have been positive things about it. There also could have been negative things about it. She didn't even have anything else much past that other than the reminder that if we kind of go to some of those same places, that's kind of an indication that might be a place of struggle or to find a different way to cope or to deal with that pain or those feelings. But I loved that she used that analogy. I don't know. For me, it's a very clear image of why we might struggle differently as adults. We don't have an opportunity to move through it the same, which is why we need to stop and allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. Just checking in, I teach my students a scan. We do body scans, right? I think you talked to me about this before. Where am I feeling this anxiety? Yeah. Right? So whether it's a body scan or where is this coming from? Or what exactly I'm feeling just nervous. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling unmotivated. I'm feeling all the things. Where is it coming from? Sit with it long enough to figure it out. And
yeah, a lot of times I feel like it doesn't even need to be figured out once you acknowledge it and name it.
That you're feeling, so example, like you're saying, so I'm feeling anxious, the end?
Well,
or what do you mean by that?
So yesterday there was a text that went out about there was a guy driving a car asking kids if they wanted a ride.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
And I told my daughter and she was like freaking out. She's like, Mom, I'm so nervous. I can't even do anything. And I said, okay, I'll stop for just a second. My job is to keep you safe. Yeah. I said, okay, so tell me, like, where are you feeling it right now? She's like, I'm feeling it in my stomach and it really hurts. And I said, okay. And we just kind of stopped there for a minute. And due to my probably distraction, we didn't talk about it again.
You just kind of
she moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah. She kind of felt that feeling and I reassured her the best I could. And she dealt with it instead of just having all that feeling inside. that feeling?
Yeah.
And just starts to
churns or bubbles or it's not, it just brews instead of going anywhere. Right. I guess that's what I loved about her reminder of what we did as a child, because we didn't have any of these censorships on us, for how to handle that. If emotion is really just energy in motion, if you've ever heard that before, then it would need a place to go. It's motion. It's moving. It needs to go through us. So naturally, we would have yelled, screamed, thrown something.
That's why my kids always cry when they barely scrape their knee.
Whatever it is, we needed to be able to finish experiencing what we were. Obviously, that doesn't give all of us a right in feeling something. I feel like I want to punch somebody in the face to go punch them in the face. But typically, the child at first, in any of its purest form, right? When it's doing something like that, it's just expressing. So how can you express it and feel it? And the second you feel it, it's usually pretty gone. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's what was so amazing too. Yeah. About my student that just was like, you just need to feel it and you'll be fine. And as soon as I went home and like took a couple minutes, I was like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. And then I felt so silly almost for stewing over it for 4 days. Right. But at the same time, I was like, well, this is what I learned. So here we are. Right. This is. Yeah.
And armed with that, you can help your kids. You can help your friends.
Gosh. And hopefully keep helping myself. Yeah. So I don't have to keep going there for 4 days. I'd love it to be 4 minutes instead. Can we just narrow that down? 4 hours a day?
I guess it just depends on how severe the feeling is. But yeah, I think so.
There's a lot of layers too. You remember when we were kids and it's like, do you feel angry or mad or sad? And then you turn into a teenager and it's angry, mad, sad, hungry, happy, annoyed. You're not just feeling one thing.
True.
Hormones, I don't know. It's complex the more that we have rational thought, I guess.
Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to say about how you were feeling about it's okay not to be okay. That permission and that opportunity you gave yourself to not necessarily find joy in it, like we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
But not castigating yourself for feeling bad and not keep beating yourself up. You're like, oh, this is my opportunity to grow. And it stinks. That's okay.
I think that's why I wanted to share it too, because I want, and if it's difficult for me to navigate, somebody else out there has probably felt that before too, right? Yeah. And I just need permission sometimes. I need to know somebody's in the boat with me or has been in the boat at one point, or we humans love that kind of empathy, right? Like, so all y'all emotional feelers out there who just hamster wheel about all the things or whatever, or cycle into it for 4 days, or, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not do Miracle Morning every single day until the day you die. It's okay to watch Nailed It for 3 hours with your kids on Sunday because you're too tired to move or whatever. Yeah. It's okay. That was the rest of my takeaway. I do want to add that. The rest of my takeaway was when I give myself that opportunity, everyone around me does better too, including myself. You know what I mean? It's way easier and happier, and the ebb and flow of life, It's just honor it. We're all better off.
I like it.
If we support each other in that.
So. That was a good lesson, and it's probably one that I'll have to revisit several times in this experience.
Yeah, it's not a permanent learned lesson that I never come back to.
No, but I think, like you said, I think it should get faster. I think you'll recognize it faster, and I think you'll be able to move through it.
Oh, I love that idea.
A little faster. Yeah.
Like our body, mind, they're fantastic at. We're super resilient. We can bounce back. We can mold and change and grow.
We can, and we should probably.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Okay. At least that's what I hope.
I love it. Thank you, Liz, for sharing that.
Oh,
we do have a question of the week.
We do.
I can't remember it.
This is in honor of Shalene. It's her birthday this week, and this girl loves her some Diet Coke. Have we talked about this? She does. She loves Diet Coke. So, question of the week is...
How much are you going to buy me for my birthday? Just kidding.
Yes. Case coming up. What beverage would you be if you could be a beverage? This is for the rest of you to think about.
This was really the question that we were going to ask.
Yeah, it totally was.
We changed it.
We did? Pick any beverage. Would you just be a Diet Coke, though? Come on.
No.
All right, let's hear it.
I would probably be... Orange juice comes to mind.
You'd be orange juice?
Yeah, because I can be sweet, and I can be sour, and I can be
pulpy?
Really thin and pulpy. Yeah, I can be all the things depending on...
You can be the concentrate, watered-down version, or the pure... squeezed fresh from the tree kind?
Yeah. And if you ignore me too long, I can get kind of rancid.
Oh my gosh. I have no offering even close to that. I just don't even know what to say.
Aren't you? I am a metaphor person to the core, girlfriend.
Okay, so I think I might be more literal.
Are you water? Don't be water.
Oh, I'm just not even I literally was going with just some type of drink that I really like to drink.
Okay.
That's how that's the
Mango lassi?
No, I don't like mango lassis very much.
What?
I know. Should I? Because I'm a yogi? What's the deal here?
No, I don't know. I just had one time and I was like, how did I not know this existed? It was really good.
Yeah, they are really good.
I usually don't
sometimes.
drink beverages that have calories, so.
I just like mixed drinks. I like all the little fluff and stuff in there. And
The frozen kind?
I made like some freckled lemonade, something or other, I just like it to be, what is that? Oh, it's a Carrie Underwood song. That's what I was thinking of, where she's like making fun of the girl that can't hold her whiskey and she just drinks, I don't know, Mai Tais or something. And, some tequila, sunset, whatever. That would be me. Just mix it up. Anything that can be like 10 different things and make it taste good. Yeah. And I do remember moving here and like, so Utah's really big on dirty drinks for all y'all if you're not from this area.
You need to explain.
All right. Dirty drinks, that's true. So places where you can go and get add-ins or mix-ins to your sodas.
But tell them what a dirty is.
That's what
it's
dirty
a certain
is.
thing. Mm-mm.
Oh, then I don't know.
Dirty is coconut and lime.
That's the actual definition when you say dirty drinks.
I
just
dirty
thought it meant
Coke or
any mix-in.
No.
Oh, whoops. Okay. So we love mix-ins out here for sodas.
Yes.
Like, it's not just drink a Coke. It's go to a special place where they put things like coconut and lime in it, or
mango puree
with peach and
half and half.
Whatever
right?
weirdness, in Sprite, and suddenly you're sunrise on the beach or something ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I made so much fun of that. But then I tried my first Dr. Pepper with coconut and blackberry.
Okay.
And I was hooked. Like, so
Look
deep.
at you.
I know. Never stick your nose up at something.
I have found that to be very true.
Yeah, there's probably something else going on. So that's about as creative as I got.
Okay. I like it.
Coconut's tropical. Berries can be sour. Love me some prune juice. I don't know.
Prunes?
That's what Dr. Pepper is.
Oh, yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Ugh.
I'm a mix-in drink.
Okay. Yeah, not me. Diet
Mix it
Coke
up.
straight up or pass.
Pass.
Hard pass.
Or water. Oh, snap. I said it.
The one W word. I just need to drink water.
Have you seen that movie? Oh my gosh, I watched too many movies. Have you seen Baby Mama?
Yeah.
With Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. My favorite part is when she hands Amy Poehler a drink of water and she spits it in her face and across the room and she's like, "What is this?" "It's water." "Well, it's horrible." That's literally what I imagine Shalene doing if I handed her a glass of water instead of her Diet Coke during podcast time. Here, Shalene, have some water. "What is this?"
Yeah, and I'd probably say it in the devil voice like that too. Yeah.
It's horrible. So for all you Diet Coke drinkers out there,
I'm one of you.
Mixed Dr. Pepper drinkers, dirty Cokes,
Yeah.
or
Rancid orange juice.
rancid orange juices. Here's some love. Share what drink you'd be.
Okay.
We love you. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thank you. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
We're going to get a website up and going here. Like us, review us.
And someone asked where to ask questions, and I would say Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram. We check them both regularly. So
We do.
if you have a question or a comment,
We do have an email too. What we learned this week podcast at Gmail.
and we get really excited when someone responds to what we put on there.
Massively excited. We may or may not be overly excited. We're trying to keep the brakes on a little bit.
So we may or may not take screenshots of the comments.
She just
and
needs
send them
another
to
Diet
each
Coke.
other.
It's fine.
I'm only 1.5 in, so.
Oh, girls. Oh, dings. Okay, well,
Okay. And remember, keep learning.
because it does matter. That's because they go together. I eat
They
food
do.
when I have trials.